Oh, Professor, I'm so delighted to know about, first of all, about Karnataka, Karnataka history, because as I just told you that in Central Asia, we know so less
Yeah,
about you.
yeah,
And but now I see that cultural commonality are everywhere, in food, in the behavior,
yeah.
despite the fact that we might look slightly different from each other.
Yes, yes.
So I would be grateful if you just introduced history of Karnataka, of Kannada people. Who are the Kannada people?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe the language.
Yeah.
And then we can go on and on.
Yeah. See, basically, the entire Kannada language has a history of around 2300 to 400 years. And we have discovered inscriptions in Karnataka, in the Kannada language inscription. It is called Halmidi Shasana, and that has very mature Kannada language being composed in the inscription, and it is dated to around 6th century Common Era. But then the argument of linguistic scholars is that if language is so mature, then the language must have begun much earlier. So Kannada is the language of Karnataka, and earlier we didn't have this notion of states or political borders. South Asia, as well as I think all old cultures in Africa, in Asia, we recognized our territories based on linguistic cultures. So we didn't have nation state argument. So Karnataka was a territory where Kannada was spoken extensively. So that started from around south central part of India to approximately bordering present day regions of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, etc. And this is the geographical extent of the Kannada speaking belt. We had dynastic history in Karnataka. The history of Karnataka can be broadly categorized into prehistoric period, and historic period. So, prehistoric period, we have a number of sites, Neolithic sites, Mesolithic sites all over Karnataka, in Ballari, and in Gadag, in Dharwad, in all of those regions, as well as in Gulbarga and in southern part of Karnataka, like Mysore, Bangalore. Now that's the prehistoric site. But historic period, we have dynasties ruling this part of the land. So the dynastic history starts almost from around 3rd century Common Era, and there were various dynasties like the Kadambas, the Ganga dynasty, then the Chalukyas of Badami, then we had the Rashtrakutas, later Chalukyas, Hoysalas, Vijayanagar Empire. So a lot of dynastic history is what happens approximately till around 17th century. And then by 18th century, we have the Europeans arriving in India, and the British and the French. They had a competition. There was rivalry to take over parts of Kannada speaking belt. So by around 18th century, the European presence in Karnataka region is very pronounced. And there are several anti-European fights happening, anti-European resistance movements happening. We had Tipu Sultan and his father Hyder Ali Khan.
So Tipu Sultan is from Canada.
From Karnataka, yes, he's a Kannadiga.
Ah.
He's a Kannadiga. His father, Hyder Ali Khan, was also a Kannadiga. And they resisted the British colonialism, but they were unsuccessful. So by around 1850s, the British control over Karnataka is more or less established. And then the Wadayar dynasty in Mysore, they had an agreement with the British subsidiary alliance system. And so till 1947, Karnataka was a part of the subsidiary alliance system, that is southern parts of Karnataka. Mysore area was a part of the subsidiary alliance system. And the best part was the Wadayar dynasty. They introduced a series of innovative, progressive institutions development in southern parts of Karnataka. Then by 1947 independence, the Wadayars acceded into the Indian Union, And then there was a unification of all the Kannada speaking belt, because the Kannada speaking areas had got distributed between various provinces during the British administration. So by 1956, there was a union of all these Kannada speaking areas. It was called as Mysore State, and 1972 we renamed it as Karnataka. So this is the broad historic evolution.
And can you explain me? The language is Kannada.
Yeah.
The state name is Karnataka.
Yes.
But the roots are the same.
Yes, the same. Karnataka means the word Karnataka is supposed to have originated from terminologies like Karunadu.
Professor, I salute your stand that Karnataka or is the belt where Kannada is spoken as the language defined, not the state but the nations.
Yes.
Because we are Turks, as you know, and we are proud that states were different because Kazakh kingdom had a huge territory.
Yeah.
Then there were smaller territories, let us say, of Kokand, of Hiva, Kazan kingdom, Crimean kingdom. But at the same time, what unified us was the language. And the language was common, a Turk language, the language of army.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are being told that no, you don't have a history of statehood. But then we have administrative division and we have a unique language, which is common, starting from today's territories of Russia, ending up to the southern part of India. So this stand is very strong for us.
Yeah.
It is very emotional for us.
For us too, this linguistic unity was very essential, and so by 1956 all the Kannada speaking areas were brought under one state of Mysore, and then later renamed as Karnataka. Now, while this is the broad dynastic history and evolution of political history, what is very, very heartening is that Karnataka has a long coastal line. And the port cities of Karnataka, starting from Mangalore to Bhatkal, Honavar, Udupi, I mean all of these are port cities, and they had extensive trade link with Africa, with Asia, with West Asia specifically. And we have had travelers from Arabia, Sulaiman from Arabia. Okay, we have had travelers from Morocco, Algeria, then Persia. The Persian emperor sent his representative to the court of Pulakeshin II in 6th century Common Era. So we have a very visual depiction of the Persian ambassador meeting the Chalukyan emperor. And they had trade contact, extensive trade contact with West Asia.
Well, this is amazing because what you're talking about West Asia, but we were recently studying with our students East Asian countries, Southeast East Asian countries, and then something came to them. They said, like, Professor, did you notice that there is a big number of Dravidian population in Southeast Asia? We normally limit them with South Asia. And we say that it is India, it is Sri Lanka, it is Maldives, but then it goes.
Yes.
And this is the key for them. The trade was the key.
Yeah, because eastern part of South India. So we had the entire Tamil Nadu belt and we had Kerala. So at one point of time, historians identified these areas. Southeast Asia, that is Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and then Indonesia. All these were identified as Greater India, because there was not just trade contact with them, but for instance, the Cholas had set up colonies or colonial empire in these areas, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, all of those. And that is why Cambodia, Angkor Wat, has one of the largest Hindu temples in the world. And in Indonesia, the Borobudur area, they have one of the largest stupa complexes in the world. So there was immense maritime contact between the southeastern part of India with that of southeastern part of Asia, and southern part of India and West Asia. So it was more, for instance, the difference is northern parts of India is a landlocked territory. They don't have a coastal area other than Bengal in the east and Gujarat in the west. But southern India has a very long coastal line, the Bay of Bengal, Bengal Sea in the eastern part and Arabian Sea in the western part, Indian Ocean in the southern part. So our contact with the outside world has always been through seas, maritime contact. And we got engineers, we got spices, we got food crops, we got travelers, and we sent Buddhism, means all of that. From culture to economy, there has been very extensive contact.
It's amazing. And from the religious point of view, here in Karnataka, people do practice all kinds of religion. Could you describe more about this?
Yeah, sure. One of the things about Karnataka is that it's a combination of not just Hinduism, Buddhism, but even Jainism, which is not seen all over India but only in specific parts of India. For instance, Rajasthan Jainism is very strong. Gujarat Jainism is strong, but not in other parts of India. In Karnataka, Jainism is one of the main religions. So we have Jainism, we have Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, and not only Islam, we have the Dakhani form of Islam.
Which is?
The Afaki and the Dakhani are two versions that emerged. So the Dakhani form of Islam is one that is practiced in Deccan India, and that is strong with Sufi cult also. So there are a number of dargahs all over Karnataka, and that they receive patronage, they receive respects from all people of all religions, because dargahs are considered as the centers of vow. So the general belief is that if you make a vow, mannat, we call it mannat. So if you make a vow or mannat in a dargah, it will come true. So regardless of whether one is a Muslim or not, people go to dargah. And we have Urs. Urs is the annual festival in the dargahs, and it's a major festival in many parts of Karnataka. So that is the kind of system that we have had. And the Sufi saints are venerated all over Karnataka. Their compositions are sung. Even today, their compositions are sung. Their compositions are enacted, narrated.
Amazing, because then we can say that Sufism starts in Central Asia and it goes up to Karnataka.
Yes. And very, very interestingly, Arabic and Farsi languages are spoken in Karnataka, and the Muslims, they speak Urdu and Arabic. So they are given training in that. We have a number of Arabic schools for the Muslim children.
I met, because I was inquiring students in the campus, what is your mother tongue? What is your mother tongue? And then I met a boy, he's from here, and I said, what is your mother tongue? He said Hindi. But then he said, and I also write poetry. I said, could you please recite? He said, yes, ma'am. And then he recited, and I said, but this is Urdu. This is more heard as Urdu. He said, yes, you are right. You are right.
Yes.
He's from here, so I was.
So that is one, culture, and Buddhism was very strong in India. I mean, in Karnataka, and we have had a number of Buddhist monasteries as well as the remains of Buddhist stupas being unearthed, excavated. In Gulbarga, Sannati is a place in Gulbarga, northern parts of Karnataka, and they excavated around a decade ago. Very large presence of very large monastery, and also the iconography icon of Ashoka Maurya, one of the emperors, Buddhist emperors of India. And then Jainism is very strongly practiced in Karnataka. So we have a number of Jain temples which are called as Basadi. Number of them, and so there are Jain pilgrims coming here all the way. And Karnataka has the only monolithic statue in Shravanabelagola of a Jaina Tirthankara. His name is Bahubali, and it is the center for Jain pilgrims from all over India.
Bahubali is from here?
Yes, yes. Bahubali statue has been installed in Shravanabelagola by a king, by a prime minister of a dynasty who was a Jaina himself.
Because we see Bollywood movies.
Yes, yes.
Like Bollywood is like, so that's why many understand Hindi and Urdu. Like
Yeah.
it's not difficult for us to understand. But then about the southern part of India, Bahubali was shown.
Yeah. Bahubali was, in the film, Bahubali is the name of a character who is very heroic. Whereas in Jaina legend and Jaina tradition, they believe that there were 24 teachers who were called as Tirthankaras. And Bahubali was the name of one of the Tirthankaras. And his statue, which is very, very tall, more than 50 feet in height, monolithic statue, it is carved out of single rock. And that is in Karnataka, and that is the center of Jaina pilgrimage for Jains from all over India.
Yesterday, I also visited Catholic Church,
Yeah.
Mother Mary, if I'm not mistaken. And I was amazed that they practice Christian rituals,
Huh.
but in a very Hinduistic way,
Yes,
like touch the forehead with the
Yes.
hand, all this kind of like, amazing.
One of the strengths is that, I mean, this is not just for Karnataka, but for all over India, is that Hinduism is not a religion which is very rigid or which is very framed. In the sense, there is a lot of independence. For instance, Hinduism does not have a single founder. There are many people, and Hinduism doesn't have one text, sacred text. There are many sacred texts, and it is dependent on the practitioners. So, if a practitioner feels that the Agamas are sacred, or the Mahabharata is sacred, or the Bhagavad Gita, or the Skanda Purana, or the Shiva Purana, I mean, they take their texts. So, both a believer and a non-believer, someone who practices and someone who need not practice, both of them are considered as Hindus. So, that elasticity has resulted in many of the practices seeping into other faiths, other religions, and even Hinduism has borrowed a lot. For instance, this whole practice of burning incense sticks and then using of attar is what we got from West Asia. So we use a lot in our rituals for in prayers. The Hindus use them in prayers. The Buddhists also use them in prayers. So there is it is not very religion-centric practice. It is very Indian-centric, Karnataka-centric practices.
Right, because I also visited Shivanam Shiva temple yesterday,
Okay.
and they were like putting some quotes on the walls. But some of the walls are typical Muslim from Islam. Some are typical from Christianity.
Yes.
So then I came to know that Hinduism has everything.
Yes.
It is actually very similar to what we have in Tengrianism.
Okay.
Tengrianism is Turks had this belief. I wouldn't call it a religion, but a belief to unique father, blue sky,
Okay.
and Mother Earth, Umay is the mother. So we had this kind of belief, but then later on Nestorian Christianity came. Later on Islam came to our land, but it was accepted easier as it didn't go against our beliefs of that the father is there.
Yeah.
So monotheistic religion as Christianity and Islam easily was absorbed.
Yeah.
But we have our rituals which are not typical for Islam. For example, on evening or like at the afternoon of Thursday or morning on Friday, we make our shilpik, what we call them shilpik, which is fermented bread, more like paratas. We fry them in oil, and when the oil smell goes up, then our late ancestors are happy
Yeah,
that their
yeah.
names are called.
Yeah. Okay.
So this kind
Yeah.
of rituals that are like, we accepted both Christianity because two big kingdoms, Naiman kingdom and Kirid kingdom, they were Nestorian Christian, and they had union with French barons against Mamelukes, who were like again
Yeah.
Kipchaks, again
Yes.
Turks,
Yeah.
and Baybar Sultan in
Yeah.
Misr, who was Turk, who was fighting Kitbuga Noyon, who was again Turk but from Naiman kingdom. And then Noyon's Christianity lost in that battle,
Yeah.
and that's how Central Asia became Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like so many things,
Yeah.
but I am still like searching for more commonalities between our Turk world and let us call it Dravidian world, because based on our race, not based on or based on the language. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
See, one thing is, Turkey has been a very integral part of Indian history and a very integral part of Karnataka history too.
by Turkey, you mean Turkey of Anatolia or Turkey kingdoms of Central Asia as well?
Of Central Asia, Turkey kingdoms of Central Asia. So for us, the relation has been basically in three broad spectrum. One is of course trade. So we have had traders, we have had merchants, and we have had trade exchanges between people of Karnataka or people of India trading with the Turkic area. We call it as Turkey. For us, it is Turkey.
You are calling it right. You know that in Soviet historiography, this division into Turks, Turkic, and Turk only appeared in 1926.
Yes.
Before that, we were just Turk.
Yes.
We were not Turkic and Turk. No,
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
one.
yeah.
It's a, just kept it.
Yeah, so we call people of Turkey as Turk. For us, it is Turk. Okay, so, and Turk is not the present day Turk area. That is just a state that got formed in 20th century. So for us, Turk is the whole of present day Turkey, as well as parts of Central Asia and parts of Persia and parts of Arabia. So that's our notion of Turk.
So you know us better, and your notion on us is more right than our own notion of ourselves.
Because see, when we had warriors coming from that area, we never called them as belonging to one state. For us, our resources and our sources, they call them as warriors from the Turkic Afghan belt. So it's a big stretch, because to the east of Afghan is where India began. We didn't have Pakistan then. So
Yes.
to the east of Afghan is India. So the warriors came from the Turkic to Afghan belt, that entire stretch.
Amazing.
So we identified them as warriors from that region. So whether it was Muhammad of Ghazni or Ghor or Alaptagin, Sabuktagin, so they were Turkic Afghan belt warriors.
Because you know what we do? We start to define Muhammad Ghazni was Afghani or he was Turk
No.
or he was more Afghani. This is what we say, yeah? Oh, then Babur was Turk, Babur is us. But
So for us, yes. And even in Kannada today, we don't, I mean, we do write Muslim, but native Kannadigas, we call them as Turks. Turks because Islam came from that region,
amazing.
not the nation per se. So we say Turks and Turk, I mean, if it is a male, we call them as Turka or Turki. Sometimes now they say no, it has to be used in terms of Muslim. And they say Turk is very derogatory. You shouldn't call them as Turki or Turka. But all of our records mention people from that area as Turks, not Turkey.
We are Turks.
Yeah.
We are Turks because this Kultegin and Tunukuk, writing on the stones, it was referred to as to Turks. There were many like tribes,
Yeah.
tribes, nations, ethnicity who were united to this empire of
Yeah.
Gökturks.
Yes.
But we were Turks.
Yes.
And for me, it is very important, very emotional because I'm coming from a family of a very well-known Turkologist.
Okay.
My grandfather, he discovered and he actually proved that Kultegin and Tonukök runic writings are just the same language, is not the different literature than today's Turkic languages. And my grandfather has a like great belief that there are only three great nations in this world. One are Scandinavians who have epics. One are Indians who have epics, and the third are us Turks who have epics.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Yeah. So we have had a lot of trade contact. We have had political contacts too. And we have had cultural contacts. So it's an assimilation of a lot of these influences between West Asia, between Turk area and Karnataka.
Amazing. And this northern part of India, are there aborigines from the northern part of India, or you would say that this is a mixture of Dravidian race, Turks race, and as you already like united those Turks, Turan Zemin and Iran Zemin into one, and maybe some Arabs, or can you call it like this or no? What is
No. When one looks at the prehistoric period in India, we have had original inhabitants in the region. So, however, unlike the European version of race-based nations, Caucasian, Mongoloid, like that, the whole of Indian subcontinent, we haven't had any specific race as such. So even the Aryans today are not identified as race. They were an Indo-European language-speaking group. That's it. So there is an admixture of a lot of these ethnicities. So even Dravidian also, we don't do in the current current period, current circumstance. There is nothing called as Dravidian.
there is nothing.
No.
So there is not a
No
race as
Dravidian.
Dravidians.
No, we don't, because we are unable to historically provide evidence in terms of who the Dravidians were.
So it is
the
Indo-Aryan.
larger- Yes, it is not Indo-Aryan. It is just Indian.
Indian.
There are admixture of the Aryans, the Dravidians, the Proto-Astroloids, the Astroloids, the Mongoloids. So there is a lot of admixture.
You know, because when you say Mongoloids, we again say no, we are Altaics.
Yeah.
We say no. What Mongoloids? The ethnonyma of Mongol appears only at the time of Golden Horde.
Yeah.
Genghis Khan said.
Yeah.
We Kazakhs even say that Mongol is Mangayir, which means eternal state.
Yeah.
He was dreaming about eternal state.
Yeah.
He was not Khalkha Mongol because his mother was from the Kongrad nation, which were Turks. His father was Borjigin. Borjigin was the title given to his nation, but he is close to what like Muhammad Haydar, Dulati. He was close to them.
For us, Mongolian or Mongoloid is not so much as Genghis Khan or Kublai Khan or Timur the Lane. I mean, these were just warriors who were a part of South Asian history. So for us, Mongoloid is primarily the physiological features of a large belt of land in northeastern part of the subcontinent. So spanning from China to Japan to Southeast Asia. So that's the race. So India, we do not have any specific race component as such. We are more of an assimilation of several races.
Right. No, we are the same. We are also.
Yeah.
We cannot say like if you see today's Kazakhs, we are very different.
Okay.
When people look at me, they say, "Oh, who you are? Maybe you're Tajik, maybe you're Uzbek." I say, "No. Kazakhs are just like me." And there are some Kazakhs which has very fair hair.
Yeah.
Like my brother is a blonde. My
Okay.
brother is blonde.
Okay.
And he is very fair. He has very fair skin. And then they say, oh, is he a mixture with Russians? No, no, no. This is how Kazakhs are. Then my second son is dark.
Okay.
He has a color which is much darker than mine.
Mm.
But the European features.
Yeah.
My bigger son, he's again fair and has curly hair. So we cannot describe
Yeah,
which
yeah.
Kazakhs
How
how they
do-
are.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Someone
Very
say, oh, narrow eyes are for the Turks,
yes.
but again, this is not true.
Yes, very true, very true. So in Karnataka, we also have one of the oldest gold mines, the Kolar gold mines. Now that was a mine that supplied gold to entire Indian subcontinent almost for around 2000 years.
That's why that is the reason of the love of ladies from Karnataka that wear so much gold. Yeah.
Gold is considered as an auspicious metal to be worn by women, and that too by married women in Karnataka. So they give us gold, and we have festivals where they make it mandatory. Once a year you buy gold so that it accumulates, and that's a wealth that will come to your rescue or anyone's rescue in times of need.
Amazing. We, on the other hand, Kazakhs believe we have a proverb saying that gold took the Ferishte, the angel, out of its past.
Okay.
So silver is considered the metal you have to wear. And young women, once they get married, once they're cooking the food for their family, they were at least like at the old times they were obliged to wear lots of gold so that the food they're prepared is clean and sanitized.
Okay, okay. In our community, in Karnataka, all over India also, as well as in Karnataka, gold is worshipped as the goddess of wealth. And gold is given to a married woman or a married girl. But we take care not to wear gold on our feet. Meaning, all women, they wear anklets.
They are not gold.
They are not gold. They are silver. We believe wearing gold on our feet is a height of arrogance. One should not be wearing it on feet. So the toe rings and the anklets that we wear on our feet are all silver, whereas the bangles and then the bracelets and earrings, those are all gold. Because gold was there, and Kohinoor was unearthed from Karnataka mines, the Golconda mines. So very rich mining tradition. Diamond mines, precious gems, rubies, emeralds, etc., and then of course gold. So that is the mineral resources. And then Karnataka is also known for timber. Timber in terms of, because Karnataka has very dense and one of the richest biodiverse zones of the world, called as Western Ghats. And that those are forest areas plus hilly regions. And that area is known for high quality timber and also sandalwood, growth of sandalwood. And then it is also known now for commercial cash crops like coffee and tea, plus spices.
That's why coffee is the drink
Yes,
here. Yeah?
yes. Because, and that coffee was introduced by the British. So the British, with colonialism, came commercial crops like coffee and tea. Because coffee and tea, they require water, but not standing water. They require water that is on the sloping area. And Western Ghats are very rain-fed areas, so there is frequent rain. But since it is a slope mountain region, the rainwater runs down. So the coffee and tea plants, they get enough water, but not standing water. And we have both dry food crops as well as wet food crops. So rice is grown in wetland areas, and we have ragi, jawar, bajra. These are all dry crops.
And what are you eating? What is like typical
Yeah.
Karnataka food?
We eat rice and we eat ragi. Roti is made out of ragi.
Ragi is.
Ragi is a grain which is grown in dry parts of the land, agriculture. So it's like a millet. It's one of the millets, one of the we have around 10, 20 categories of millets. So ragi is one of the most well-known millet. So we eat ragi. Roti is made out of ragi.
We have this tradition of eating millet.
Okay.
We have bread made of wheat, but also we like at the near the Caspian Sea where my grandmother is. They used to drink tea with milk, and they put 1 or 2 spoons of fried millet inside, so that they say taste is becoming rich, but at the same time it's very nutritious.
Yes, yeah. So even we eat millets, and all of our breads are made out of either rice or millets or wheat.
This is interesting because Turks. Millet is called tara in Turkish. In Kazakh we call it tara. So when we say tara, we will eat tara, and they say, how you can eat it? We just give it to the birds.
Okay.
I said no. This is very nutritious.
We make flour out of it, and then the flour is kneaded like a dough, and then it is patted on a pan. And we eat it along with vegetables.
Like in China, in northern part of China, they also make this kind of thing, and on dam they cook it. This bread.
Yeah. So that's our cuisine. Or we eat rice and dal, made out of spices and that.
I also wanted to know one thing. I've been told that Brahmins in northern part of India, they do not marry their cousins up to 7th generation.
Yeah.
It is a case with Kazakhs. Like many Muslim cultures, like in Turkey, they marry their cousins. We do not. At the old times, in case if you did so, you could have been just thrown stones and being killed. So we have this case. For us, it's obligatory to know our forefathers. We know our what we call shijri, our genealogy. Is this the case with the North India or not?
See, in all over India, earlier to avoid any kind of what do we call it as factricides or this marrying within family, etc. What Indian society did was identified or created groups, and these groups are called as Gotra. And the tradition said that one should not marry within the Gotra. So it should not be an internal marriage with the same Gotra.
So Gotra people are like brother and sister. They are not cousins.
Yeah. So they should not get married. Okay. So that is why even today, if I were to marry, then I will be identified through my Gotra, and my partner has to belong to a different Gotra.
And the Gotra is through father.
Through father. So as a result, that is one. And second, in India, cross cousins will marry, but not parallel cousins. Cross cousin meaning the children of 2 sisters or 2 brothers don't marry. That is because they are parallel cousins. But the children of a brother and a sister can marry because the sister is given in marriage to another family. The brother is in another family, so they can marry.
But the notion of blood does not remain because we see like from the paternal side, both from the maternal side. So 7 generations should not mix.
Okay, yeah.
So through over like in North India also they can marry parallel cousins.
Yes.
So this
North
is the
India
case.
also marry, but Muslims in India, they marry parallel cousins. They don't marry cross cousins. So they marry their aunt's son or daughter. I mean, children of 2 brothers or 2 sisters marry. But amongst the Hindus and Jains and others, it's always cross cousins.
Interesting. Yeah, because this is the thing which we didn't understand. Because when we were like interacting with our friends in Iran, in Turkey, and they say, my parents are just cousins. And we say, this is brother and sister, how they can let their kids marry. Because in our culture, this notion of belonging to one particular tribe is very strong.
Okay.
Within this tribe, you when you are introducing, you say, this is my brother. And that does not mean like distance
Yeah,
someone. No,
yeah.
that means this is my brother. And despite the fact like he can be your fourth cousin, fifth cousin, sixth cousin, but he's your brother.
Okay, okay. Here, we call a cousin as a brother only if he is my mother's sister's son.
Ah.
If he is my mother's brother's son, then I can marry him.
Oh, this is so difficult.
Yeah, because my mother has come out of her paternal house,
Uh-huh.
so she is married to a different family. So her children's blood is not the same as her paternal family's blood.
Incredible.
So I can marry my mother's brother's son, but I cannot marry my mother's sister's son.
Oh.
So we marry cross cousins. But even that has of late come down a lot. Now they say, no, we grew up together, we are more like brothers and sisters, siblings. So, and then they'll marry someone from outside.
But
Yeah.
was it typical to marry cousins?
Yeah, it
was
was.
typical.
It was.
Ah.
Cross cousins, it was.
So now I understand when they told me that we don't marry cousin, like they're referring that they don't marry their
Parallel cousins.
yeah parallel
yes.
cousins.
Yeah.
This because like I was thinking about this a lot, like because this is what defines us as a
Yeah,
culture.
yeah. Very true.
Thank you so much. Because I was like willing to know, to understand, like
Yeah.
and many things. Because in JNU, I have a friend Archana Upadhyay.
Okay.
I will explain later. I will explain this. Because some of my friends, Puneet Gaur, is saying, no, we don't marry our cousins. I said, yeah, all Brahmin do not marry. Never. Like this is
Yeah.
What are you saying? No, we don't. And then there was a lecture of the Nobel Prize laureate, and then I said that I've been, and then a lady, she looked at me, she's on the south we do. And then I said, explain.
Yeah, that is what happens. Yeah.
Thank you so much for explaining.
It is a pleasure. It's my pleasure.
You know, I